was there. I don't have to listen to it.
This week's show because it was a disaster.
When you live in a beach resort, it's easy to forget whether you are playing or working. On each week's show, we settle in with a cocktail and try to figure out if there is a difference. This is Day Drinking on Delmarva.
I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I am Tony Russo, no relation, and you're listening to Day Drinking on Delmarva, a podcast about life and culture on the Delmarva Peninsula. Todd drinks because he gets to live here. I drink because I have to live here. Some nights I have all three colors of liquor and beer.
Hey,
That's
back
how
on
my
the beer.
summer's been going. I'm like, is this really my fourth color of the evening? Did I really need to open a bottle of wine at this point?
Yeah. The answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes. And of course, I'm being a little facetious. It has been a long week already. It is July 30th as we record this. I want to start to put the dates on because I think it'll put more pressure on me to put things out. So first off, let's start with a list of things Tony failed to do this week, which is to promote this show on social media with a stand-up video picture thing. I will do that this week. You hopefully are watching this because you saw my big dumb face on Instagram or wherever I end up doing it. I feel like Instagram or maybe on Facebook. I don't know. But we are going to try. I am going to try to siphon some of you off of those awful social media platforms and join us here in Funland where life is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats. So, do you remember the song? No?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So Todd had a good week though. So let's start with him because Todd, if you're a longtime listener, and you could be a longtime listener because we've been at it for knocking on 20 years,
Sure.
Todd has several birthdays during the year. He chooses one and then one occurs naturally. And his
Yes.
birthday, I met another person like that. It is my son-in-law. He
that right?
is, well, I mean, kind of for different reasons, but I tease him anyway. He's Iranian, and so his birthday comes on different days because they're
According to
they
their
have a
calendar.
different calendar. So his birthday could be one of like 2 or 3 days, and I'd say that he's just like Todd, and he just picks the day. I mean, we don't know. We're dumb Americans. We can't. He's like, oh yeah, my birthday's this day this year. I'm like, yeah, Todd does that too. You don't have to blame it on being Iranian. You can just do it and say, this is what I do. So how did you choose to have your birthday this week? I probably should have done it too because I didn't have a great week, and I could have used one.
It's funny because the quick backstory is goes back to grade school and having an August birthday in the middle of August. They start with the morning announcements the first, and they cover all of the June birthdays the first week, and then they cover all of the July birthdays the second week, and then it's the third week of school, and you get barely a mention for your birthday over the announcements, and that stuck with me for a long time. So much so that I like to do I guess it's more of like a reflective birthday. And it's just one of those good days when you look back and you know what, this was awesome. Maybe I worked a little bit, maybe I did some house stuff with Natalie, stuff with friends, things that I love, music, film, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call it. That was my birthday. And so it happened again.
Better that way because you always have a great birthday. You never disappointed on your birthday.
I'm never disappointed on my birthday. And it's just to your point, like life is good. Life is good. If you were listening back, well, when did we even talk about this? I signed off of social media on the personal side. Obviously still have a lot of client work that brings me to it. But
we touched on it in the last show and then covered it extensively back in May before we took our summer break.
Yeah. Point is, I was in a pretty bad headspace, and now I'm in a pretty good headspace. And I had maybe the best birthday after the fact that I've had in a while. It was a 2-dayer. It started with some some good music, but with a good friend, our buddy Joey Harcum, playing up at the Rehoboth Ale House and talking to owner Newman up there, and just very passionate about original live music, and it, transforms the ale house into this this great space to listen to music, even at the chagrin of some of the locals who he told me last week will come up and be like, "Oh, are you doing one of your things again?" You know, because they just want to sit at the bar and they like, "Yeah, we're doing one of our things again."
One
And
of those bar things that we do here at the bar. Are
yeah,
you pouring those beer things again?
yeah, yeah. You have entertainment.
So,
Um,
I'm sorry, so when you said the Ale House, and I guess I
oh
offer a
yeah,
small apology to whatever brewery is around the corner from your house, but that's not the Ale House, I guess.
that is not. We have Berlin Beer Co. right here.
Oh, right.
This is the Rehoboth Ale House. It's up on the, and it's a great restaurant. It's right on Highway 1 in the Forgotten Mile, area, between Dewey and,
Oh, oh, oh.
Lewis, Rehoboth, yeah. So, it's a great spot. He plays there a couple times a year, little, kind of acoustic show. But we saw him, we stayed we met some friends. He came out after. I actually ended up having a late night with some people who were hanging out, which I haven't done in quite a while, and, just kinda, like, talking about, uh, life and, liberty and the pursuit of happiness, at 3 o'clock in the morning after,
What better
after
time?
what better time, right? That's when all of the world's problems are most likely to be solved.
Yes, and cost.
Uh, and then so, we piggyback that on with our annual trip to Ocean City, which involved a stop at Fishtails, for an afternoon swing in the chairs and an orange crush, and it was lovely and not hard to get in or out of. And no, not too many, bothersome patrons, of the tourist variety. But, and then we did some work. We worked at, Freeman Stage, and, shot a band there, got to see some people, again, live music, that's kind of our bag.
Mhm.
And then we decided we would head back into Ocean City and make our an annual pilgrimage to Pickles Pub, one of Tony's favorites, for what it ended up being a double. It was just, oh man, yeah. So our friend Joey, who played the night before, was playing at Pickles. So we went to go see him at Pickles, and then we went to go see another band on at the Purple Moose, Just the Tip, Brian O'Boyle, from Green Jean days back in, I don't know how long ago, but definitely,
A
it's
1,000
been a
years.
minute. It's been a minute. But yeah, so we walked the boardwalk from Pickles to the Moose in summer, in July, and, we survived. And not only did we survive, we had a great time too. So, uh,
And the
it
the Purple Moose isn't that far uptown, right? Is it?
no, no, I mean, what, the Pickles is 8th Street, the Moose is down close to, Talbot Street. So,
Okay,
um,
I've been to the Purple Moose once. It was, with my wife. It was 2010?
yeah,
2011? The Worcester County used to invite the teachers to get a $30, room rate for
yeah,
Valentine's Day at one of the hotels up there,
yeah,
and it was one of the we had just started dating, maybe we've been dating a year or so, and yeah, we went into the Purple Moose. There's nothing like the Purple Moose at midnight in February.
yeah, yeah, very different.
I'm like, "You realize you don't have to have the music this loud. We can all hear it great. All 7 of us,
All 7 in the
we
room.
can hear it just fine."
Yeah,
But yeah, no, because it's a good place for, yeah, the classic rock kind of
yeah, yeah. It's a
experience.
yeah, rock and roll bar, and, it was I don't it was fantastic. Saw a lot of Ocean City people that I haven't seen in a while because, the band brought them out, because they were playing, and, very reminiscent kind of the old Party Block days or whenever Green Jeans used to
Right.
play on the regular. And it occurs to me, you talk about the last time you were at the Purple Moose, that, uh, my first introduction to the Purple Moose was actually before I was 21. It was when Natalie lived down here at the beach. We were still in college, and we weren't 21 yet. That's crazy, right? And, and I ran into somebody at, the local corner store, happened to be, like, a fraternity brother from a different school, and he was trying to get me, like, maybe he was even working the door at the Moose, and he was like, "Oh, you should come on by, and I'll let you in." And I didn't go. Um, we had other plans. I don't but my one memory is like, "Oh, yeah, the Purple Moose, that's the place on the boardwalk that's, dark and you can't see inside, but you can hear the music coming out, and there's often strollers lined up by the door." And that's just the memory, like, "All right, we're gonna take the kids into this rock and roll bar, and, we're gonna have a good time, God damn it." So,
Yeah, and continue to allow it to be 1990.
yes.
Um, and yeah, kind of along those lines, I had mentioned this before I started. I had a little bit of a bleak week.
Mm,
And one of the things that I was meditating on was I had seen a post on Substack that, and I'm writing about. I'll tell you what I'm writing about in a second because I think it might be fun to talk about. But I saw this particular, and it was a trail, bringing his horse through the swamp of sadness
yeah,
on the way to fight the Nothing. And,
yeah,
when I don't usually go in for the whole, generational divides. I think a lot of times that they're false, but, you know, for a person who's technically, a Gen Xer, nothing strikes me as more appropriate to describe a generation than dragging a dying horse through the swamp of sadness on your way to fight the Nothing. Like,
yes.
yeah, and as I said before we started, yeah, no wonder everyone just sat down and put their feet up and waited for the baby boomers to die. I mean, it is the Nothing after all.
It is
Like, best case scenario, you die fighting the Nothing.
not the
Have a nice
also
night. Sleep tight.
also, what's the dead horse you're dragging? 'Cause
Yeah,
every everybody's got their own,
it's your
uh
innocence. Oh, no, it's a white horse. It is your innocence and hope, and you're
yeah,
dragging it, and you lose it in the swamp of sadness, and you still must, even though you lose your innocence and your
uh
hope, and you're only 14, it's
yep,
time to go fight the Nothing. Put on your fucking McDonald's hat and ask if they want fries with it.
yeah,
Oh, Gen X, they really were slackers for some reason.
yeah, for some reason.
And so I was having a real fighting the Nothing kind of week, but I'm writing a story, a little tiny essay that'll come out probably Sunday or Monday on TonyRusso.com. If you're a subscriber, it will come in your inbox. And I've been writing a lot lately about, like, literary devices in real life, like
Mm,
foreshadowing. Like, we don't like foreshadowing is technically only for books, but then something happens, and sometime later something happens to kind of fulfill that. And I'm really, really interested in how we kind of force a narrative on the world. Like, we make stories, there shouldn't be any such thing as a true story, right?
m'kay,
Because
yeah,
a story has a beginning and a middle and an end and a point. And we take, and you and I do it every week, several different things that happened,
yeah,
and we force a point on it. We're like, this happened and this happened and this happened. So it means this. No,
yeah,
it doesn't at all. But it is so much fun to do. And so I wrote about that the last couple times I've written. And this next week, I'll be writing about this woman, and her name is Marguerite Stevens. And she got this postcard. I'm showing the
oh,
postcard on the video. It'll be again in a couple weeks on my blog, and it was sent in April 4th, 1914, from Florence, Italy. one of her friends was visiting Florence, Italy. And so, of course, because I have her address, I can stalk her,
Yeah.
on the internet. And I found all sorts of cool things. Like she was living in a house that was like a big deal at the time. You know, it's amusing. She and her family would summer on Staten Island, which is such a hysterical thing, like, to think about, like, not Martha's Vineyard, not out on the Hamptons, no, Staten Island.
Staten Island.
Staten Island, by the way, as the crow flies, is about 2 or 3 miles from where I grew up. It's the other side of the bay. Like, the
Right.
bay that she swam in was the bay that was too filthy for me to swim in 100 years later, literally 100 years later. So, I'm gonna be writing about her because it feels like, it's World War One is about to start, like, Archduke
Yeah.
Ferdinand is about to get killed, and nobody in this story knows about it. Like, they're just
Yeah.
living their regular lives, and, she, within a year, is gonna be married and have a baby
Right.
within 13 months of receiving this postcard, and I know that, but she
Yeah.
did not know that,
Yeah.
and so I'm putting a story on top of her life that she didn't see
Yeah.
because she couldn't see her life from the outside.
Yeah.
And that's really what's been interesting to me because I've been doing a lot of, memoir writing, not my own, ghost writing of memoirs, and talking to people and having them tell me their story, and then making their story making their various anecdotes look more like a story is so much more fun than I thought it would be. I was honestly hoping to just pick up a couple extra dollars, but now it's something that I hope to do more of. I'm doing it actually, like I said, I'm practicing on poor Marguerite and her family,
Yeah.
just writing these unauthorized biographies of strangers. Ooh, maybe that's what I'll
Yeah.
call the book, Unauthorized Biographies of Strangers.
That's pretty
Um,
good.
but, yeah, so I'm vaguely excited about that, and that's going on over I guess this will be the commercial for this episode. Each week we pick a local business, bop, ba, boop, ba, boop, me. Um, I have Tony Russo, by TonyRusso.com, and on there I write all sorts of crazy, odd things. One of the difficulties, if I can, I just want to go on a little bit about this because the note is from a friend of hers, and I cannot make out the name. The name is beyond making out. I can't guess. I'm not going to bother. I've been trying to do this for 3 days. My eyes, again. If you're, is it 2:15 already?
2:15 already?
School has been over for a month. How did I still not turn that off? Um, the really interesting thing is that the person who write is like, I haven't seen your parents yet. You're in Florence. It's 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 1914. You're not gonna just bump into them. But they were really like, oh, I probably will bump into your parents while I'm knocking
Really?
around in Florence this summer.
Yeah.
So this person's going looking for her parents, and it's just such a different world. These are, I guess, very upper middle class people.
Yeah.
Actually, at the time, Staten Island was called New Brighton. It wasn't called Staten Island.
Really?
Yeah, New Brighton, New York is where, and I was like, "Where's New Brighton?" And they're like, "You mean Staten Island?" I'm like, "Well, why would you change it?" I think New Brighton's, I think, a section of Staten Island. I think this is a,
We actually, we had somebody reach out to us that wants us to be part of a little project that they have where similar to the only similarity is the analog nature of the postcards, but this guy is sending out people sending disposable film cameras now
ah,
to people to document and then
that's
and
great.
that the whole nature of yeah, if there are no reshots, so you only have 27 exposures. You have to, use it wisely. I've seen it replicated in other areas for like nights out and that sort of thing. But I don't know. It's one of those cool things to be a part of. So I'll definitely I'll be reporting back on that.
And the other thing that I had a chance to do this week that I wanted to talk a little bit about was I did, finally yeah, leave the house. And I haven't been able to leave the house all summer because my mechanic stole my car.
Well, you did say you were having a bad week, so
Yeah, no. And so I back in June, I brought the car over. I said, my engine light was on. And he
and
said,
yeah.
okay, I will take a look at it. And that was coming up on a month and a half ago.
Oh,
Kelly was
man.
still in school. And one of my one of my pet peeves about living on Delmarva is all of the people from Delmarva that are here. Um, and another one is there is this kind of, antebellum work ethic.
Mm,
And there's something very, very like I wanted to go out and do some destination Delmarva stuff. I mean, I've been promising to go out and do it, and I haven't been able to. And again, this is what's called dramatic irony. We know something that the characters don't know, and
yeah.
what we know is that Tony's not getting his fucking car back. And so he's, like, worried about how he's going to tell this to go out to all of these places that he wants to take pictures of and do stories about when he's not going to get a car, and that kinda came in crashing on me. I think that was a real big part of the I mean, there were a couple of bumps on the day job front, but I don't know I can't tell you how frustrating it is to not only not have a car, but to not have a car in a place where there's also no public transportation. Like,
Yeah.
it's always been my knock on Delmarva. It's always been something again, growing up, I could walk 30 feet from my house and get on a bus and be any place on the planet.
Yeah.
Here, I could walk to Food Lion and maybe get a bus to Seaford, and
Right.
that's the upside. So I've been feeling very, very, very trapped.
Yeah.
And, now that you've cheered me up with your purple moose story, and I'm thinking that maybe, I'll just start to make more phone calls and not actually go out and do things, but see if I can get people on the phone to tell me what it's like to do things when you have no car and you're living on the Delmarva Peninsula.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how are we gonna get your car back? Like, what's the, you know, what's the swindle that we're gonna do to,
It's
to continue this story is
so this is the problem. The problem with me is I only have 2 gears. I have "I don't care," and "I'm gonna burn your house down,"
yeah,
right? And those are just my 2 modes. So,
right.
I mean, and this is a place where, you really might wanna burn someone's house down, so I wanna stay away from that
It's this
and
may
kind of
be warranted.
try and inhabit don't care mode for as long as possible.
Yeah,
But I'm getting ready to go away to New Jersey this weekend, so hopefully when I get back from New Jersey, I will have a car and I will have some things to report. I did go I guess I this is one of the things that happened while we were on hiatus, but the only destination Delmarva trip I've made so far is to a lavender farm
hmm,
in Wycomico County,
yeah,
and that was super cool. I don't know what you know about lavender, but it's not really appropriate to this show because you know,
it's lavender.
it's lavender. There's no better way to say it, right? It's lavender. But so that was my only trip so far, and that's the thing. I'm having trouble getting excited about these things where I
Yeah,
didn't used to have any trouble with it. And I really do feel like it's because I'm registering how trapped I genuinely am.
yeah, yeah. Well, and it's one of those things too, it's like you'll sit at home, of your own volition, but then as soon as you, like, have to be somewhere, you know, the weight of obligation to do something is like, "Oh, man, I shouldn't have been sitting at home. I should have been out doing things," or
And that's the thing, you never like, I wouldn't have done anything all summer, but now that I didn't have a car, I'm
yeah,
furious.
right. Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So that's been pretty much it for me here. I'm sorry I didn't bring any fun stories this week. It's been a little bit of a hump, but we will definitely have some good stories next week. And I'm running out of gas. How about you? Do you have do you have anything else? You have anything coming up?
We do have the Restaurant Olympics, which is field day for
Oh, that's
adults
fun. Where is that and when?
in Dewey Beach. That's next Tuesday, and always a great time. And we'll have lots of great content that comes out of that day. Um, it usually turns into like a boat day. Um, that's one thing that we had realized and we had mentioned that we've not been to the beach except for when we were in North Carolina at all this summer. And frankly, I'm okay. I mean, we spend a lot of time out doing fun things and the things we want to do, and we're out in nature. And a lot of times, if I have like a free afternoon, I'd rather piddle around in my yard than
Todd and
than
Tony
go
get old.
than go sit in traffic for Assateague or something like that. Assateague will be there in the fall when the
And it'll
temperatures
still
are
be hot
cooler.
apparently because it's a billion degrees. I wanted to ask you, this is a different thing, but it's something that I forgot existed until this very second, and it must be coming up soon as well. The kayak races, is that what it's called?
The canoe races?
Canoe races.
The canoe races happened. There had been 2. There had been one in at BJ's on the Water in Ocean City that was very popular. Again, another industry type day
Right, yeah,
where
that's
all
what
of the
made me think of it.
bartenders. Yeah. And then they started doing one through the Dewey Business Partnership up in Dewey. It wasn't well attended this year. Um, but that's,
That's
I'm
because we
not
didn't mention it on the show. Next year,
it's probably because of that.
did,
Um,
didn't it did was there one at Fager's, or am I just conflating BJ's and Fager's?
I think you might be mixing that up.
Okie dokie.
They've always done some. Well, then
I
there was
can't
like the
picture where BJ's on the Water is. I can only picture where Fager's Island is. That's probably
well,
why.
it's not there anymore. I don't think.
Ah,
I think
that'll do it.
that will do it. I think that's where like Rope Walk is now. Um, so
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yes.
yeah. Um, but I mean, there's always ridiculous fun things like that that are happening around. And anytime you get a bunch of industry people together on their day off, so it's like usually a Monday or a Tuesday, to cut loose and have fun. It's I don't know. It's a great time. One of the so we did just have the kids Olympics and the Starboard staff party, which is um,
That
you
was
know
one of the reasons we were off last week or the week before.
yes, yeah, from last week, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean we're it's the downside of summer, right? Not the downward. It's the downward slope. This is now when August 1st hits and we start talking about some of the young kids that work at the places are going back to school, and then
Yeah.
families are getting ready for sports. Like August has just become sports month, right?
Yeah.
And even more so, like it's like fraternity and sorority month too. Like you get some interruption, some fall creep that comes into your August. So it's important to stay diligent and make sure you maintain your summer mindset.
Absolutely, or at least retrieve your summer mindset, and that's my goal. So my assignment for this week is to have something that's not boring to say next week, and also be in a better fucking mood, which I promised I will.
Okay, we'll drink
Yeah.
next week.
I was this close to saying, I'm just not up for it, but, never cancel when you don't have to, and I
Yeah,
was ready, I just knew I wasn't on my A game. So if you've listened this far, thank you so much for listening. And I'm sorry that I didn't bring my A game, even though Todd brought his. And we will both have our A game and maybe something to talk about next time. But I've got nothing less. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, remember that at the beach,
It's happy hour whenever you say it is. Cheers.